friends, we're living in a day and age that is simply very, very interesting. If you will say to people a long time ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, follow me, they will know. Or that you will say, follow us, which is a more typical phrase used online. If you say, follow us, they will understand. They will not understand what you understand today. Right? The meaning of words are changing more and more. Sometime in the past, you will say, that is sick. Right? And people will get worried that somebody's sick. But today you say, that is sick. You actually mean that is awesome. That is nice. Right? Words are changing. Today when you say, follow us, a young mind especially will think about what? What, young people? What do you think when somebody says, follow us? What do you think? Tell me the words you think. Huh? Follow us, right? Follow, the follow button. You think about media, you think about Instagram, you think about TikTok, you think about YouTube, you think about Facebook, right? You think about those things when somebody says, follow us, follow me, you think about clicking that blue button to follow that person. And so this is what our day and age, this is what this generation is like. Follow us actually means click a button on the internet so that you will have the notifications, you will have the updates, the new videos, as soon as they come up, will say that your phone, your computer, your tablet will say, oh, there is a new material that you might be interested on. Follow us. When it comes to follow us, one of the platforms that is bringing more people and generating more money is known as Instagram. How many of you know Instagram? How many of you have heard about Instagram? Just two people, I can't believe you. Instagram, let me see your hands, come on. Everyone knows about Instagram. How many of you do not have an Instagram account? Shame on you. I'm kidding. But you know, friends, we live in a generation, we live in a context that when you do not have a social media account, it's like you don't exist. Have you noticed that? And I know some of you are saying, I'm just fine without an account. I don't need an account. I'm living fine. Leave me alone. But do you know that you can make tons of money out of that? And because they are making tons of money out of these accounts, all they want is for viewers to click that follow button. Follow. Because once you do that, you count as one of their followers. And so you find, if you Google it, CBNC or any study on this, you will see that there are people that have just simply millions of followers on the internet. Let me give you just the first company that is on top. The first one of the list is actually Instagram itself. With how many followers? 448 million followers. 448 people have come to their account and clicked the what button? Follow button. 448. That's what the M stands for, by the way. Million. That's an account. That's a company. The individual account, a person that has an account on Instagram, the first number one in the list is an individual by the name of Cristiano Ronaldo. How many of you know Cristiano Ronaldo? Shame on you. Shame on you. You know Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Cristiano Ronaldo is a soccer star. He is one of the best soccer players in the world, if not one of the two. Anyone knows what the other one is? Messi, right? Well, Cristiano Ronaldo is the person that has the first place in this list of followers. He has how many? Can you see the number? 375 million followers. Friends, these people that have so many followers make tons of money when they post anything. We're talking about thousands of dollars. All that he has to do is just take a picture of himself, post it on his Instagram account, and they will receive thousands of dollars just because of that. Why? Because as soon as he posts something, people will come, mass will come to see what he did. And then they use it to advertise. Thousands and thousands of dollars come to these people that are already rich. And that's why you see many people asking you to follow them. Follow us. In the middle of that, those 400, the account that has more followers than anyone else is Instagram. As I said in the beginning, we have 448 million. Compared with this individual over here. It's pretty much the same if you really, because he's 448 and here it says 433, almost the same. With the small difference of the M, right? Millions. Just the difference of 6 zeros. Just that. Followers. Everyone is after you online for you to click on that button right there. Follow. The word follow has lost meaning. Because the moment you click on that button, you are supposed to become a follower. But let me suggest to you, friends, that what you become at that moment is a fan, which is different. There is a huge difference between being a fan and being a follower. A fan is somebody that likes somebody. A follower is a totally different word. On this noisy cyber world, there is one that comes with a louder voice, the loudest of all. And he yells, inviting everyone to follow him. He doesn't say, click the follow button. He says, follow me. It's not a blue button. Because he's not promising just walk on the path of roses. It's a different kind of following. And this, my dear friends, is what Jesus talks about in the text that we are going to be studying today. Not just click the button and go do your own stuff, but follow me and be with me. I want to invite you now to the text and see that why is this so relevant with what we're living today. Jesus said to his disciples what we read. But I want you to notice that he is expressing what he's about to say. He's getting ready to express this to his disciples. What we are tending to do today, friends, is to define what a disciple is, what to follow God, to follow Jesus is all about, because that's what Jesus will try to teach us today, friends. Are you ready for that? And he says this to his disciples. That word disciple is a very interesting word as well, because it's a word that defines who the person is and what that person does. The word disciple comes from the Greek mathetes. The Greek mathetes is a Greek that denotes a person who learns. So the moment Matthew says that Jesus is about to say this to the disciples, he uses a word that describes those who are ready to learn from the master. So in the most basic definition of the word disciple, a disciple is one who learns. Keep that in your mind, because Jesus will start building up for us today. Disciples, listen. If any one of you who are ready to learn, and let me ask you this, church, is that enough? Learn things, know things, will that be enough? That's why the word disciple, the strict definition of the word, is not enough. And that's why Jesus uses that word to bring our attention that for those of us who are ready to learn, so that he can enrich that definition. And he's about to do that for us today. Disciples, listen, you're ready to learn. Let me tell you what to be a disciple is all about. Disciples, if anyone desires to come after me. The text, if you notice, has 2 times that uses the word desires. If anyone desires, I want to bring your attention to that word. In the Greek, it's the word thelo. I don't have it on the screen, but it's the word thelo, and that word simply means that you decide. You decide. It's a disposition. You decide. You make a decision. It's a voluntary decision to follow Jesus. Jesus doesn't force you to follow Him. Jesus doesn't condition the ways of the world so that you will end up following Him. The moment you accept to follow Jesus, it's not just a click on an Instagram account and then you keep on living your own life. Jesus is about to rock our worlds and change the definition that we have for that little word. The little word. Follow. So yes, you have a good desire, but you have to do something about that desire. You want to follow me. You want to be my disciple. You want to be a Christian. That's a great desire. But if anyone desires this, desire number 1, let him deny himself. Ooh. Who is right? Deny himself? Can I just click the button somewhere instead? 3 things Jesus says. Number one, deny himself. If you want to follow me, deny yourself. Number 2, we are in verse 24. If you want to come after me, you need to take up your cross. And once you have denied yourself, once you have taken up your cross, then you're ready to follow me. And notice that this is being told to the disciples for them to become followers. Now, friends, listen. This why is Jesus using these 3 things to define what is it that we are to do so that we become true followers of Jesus? What is this denied himself? See, this word deny himself is a long Greek word. It comes from a Greek word that simply means, these are 2 words actually. You will see in the next one, I think I have it. Do I? Yeah, that's the word. Aparneomai. 2 words, apo and arneomai. Apo simply means, the word apo simply means separate from. And the other word, arneomai, the word means to behave, to act entirely unlike yourself. So this is what Jesus is saying, friends. When you decide and desire to follow Jesus, to come after Jesus, you must decide to deny yourself, meaning you must decide to stop behaving like yourself. If you want to come after Jesus, you must stop behaving the way you have been behaving all this time. Friends, Jesus is not going around. He's coming to the center, the middle of the problem. The problem is not the world. The problem is not my friends. The problem is not the lack of activities that I might have in my house. The problem is not my spouse. I am the problem. Dear friends, the only way for us to receive a solution is accepting that there is a problem. But as long as we keep on justifying ourselves, we will keep on restraining the solution to come to our lives. Is there anyone here? You and I, we need to accept that there is a problem in us. And yes, we have found different words to define this in the Bible. There are different words to understand what a problem is. But the most simple word, the simplest word that we find in the Bible is the word sin. Simple, S-I-N. And because of sin, we live in a certain way, we think in a certain way, We speak in certain way. We act in certain way. We condition forgiveness. We condition love. And Jesus is saying, stop that. No more of that. Because as long as you continue living the way you live, you're going to a different place that I want to take you. And so the first thing that you need to take care of is that problem that you have. Accept it. Now listen, friends, Jesus is not asking us to fix our own problems and then come to Him. He never requested that from us. He's requesting us to accept that we have a problem, to stop justifying, to stop finding excuses and pointing fingers. Because it is time for those who want to follow Jesus to accept we are the problem. I have a problem. I'm a sinner. But Jesus is saying, come after me. Because the moment you have accepted that, the moment you are ready and prompt, you desire to be different, that moment I can take care of you because you have declared that you're empty now. I can fill you up to the brim. So deny yourself and start acting entirely differently, like you were not yourself. Because being ourselves has been the problem all along. And so Jesus says, deny yourself. Number one. Then He says, take up your cross. All of us know that the cross was an instrument, a Roman instrument that was used to impart the worst pain to the worst criminals. Only those who were just out of rank in the criminal list were sent to die on a cross. The cross was designed to give such a pain that is simply indescribable, so much that they created a new word to describe that kind of pain. And there is where we have the word excruciating. That's how bad the pain is, that they didn't have a word to describe the pain. And the word was created because of the cross. Now Jesus is saying, take up that cross. We need to know also that those who were sentenced to die on a cross, they were also expected to carry their own cross all the way to the place where they were planned to be crucified, where they were planning to crucify that person. So they were to carry that cross as a public shame of what their lives were like. And Jesus is saying, now take up your cross. Why is Jesus saying this? Why would Jesus desire us to go? Why would Jesus desire us to go in the same path that He already suffered for us? Didn't He suffer for us? Why do I have to even contemplate on the idea of going through that again? And I think the answer to what Jesus is meaning by this is in the Greek again. The Greek word for, can we see the next one, for cross is the word stauros. But now stauros comes from a base Greek word that is known as histemi. Now that doesn't say much to you, I know. But the word histemi is a powerful, powerful word. Because the word histemi means to establish a thing. To establish a thing. Why is this word used here? Friends, this is what we are to learn. God decided to use a pagan, painful instrument, the cross, to establish His kingdom. When Jesus, the Son of God, died on that cross, the establishment of the kingdom of God was set. It happened at the cross. And so when Jesus says, take up your cross, deny yourself, take up your cross and follow me, He's actually saying you are not to go to the cross again. You are not to carry your cross and go in pain and all that and in shame. He's actually saying it is time for you to establish your allegiance to the King. But there is a problem. When you declare to the world that you belong to Jesus, when you declare to the world your allegiance to Jesus, you're declaring war against the enemy of Jesus. And see, friends, when you declare war against the enemy of Jesus, he's not going to just play safe and go somewhere else. You need to know, friends, that the closer you are to Jesus, the more the attacks of the enemy might be. But Jesus knows about this. He knows that the enemy will attack even more than before. And that is why Jesus says, follow me. Remember, friends, when it comes to the war against the enemy, we have to be reminded of what Paul said in Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 12. He said, remember that we don't wrestle with flesh and blood. We are wrestling against principalities. We wrestle against powers. We wrestle against rulers of this generation. We wrestle against wicked spirits. And so because that is whom we're wrestling against, we don't have that strength to be victorious. But there is one. Church, there is one who is the most powerful being in the world. And that one who is the most powerful being in the world is the one that is suggesting, is the one that is inviting us, better said, to be on his side. As a matter of fact, the word follow me that comes here in the text at this moment is a Greek word again that doesn't mean just come after me, just follow my steps, just be behind. The Greek word, and I have it in the next screen, the Greek word for to follow is the word akolotheo. These are two words again, and kelotheo. And these two words are words that define something beautiful, friends. The word is a particle for union. And the word kelothos is a word that defines a road. This is what the word means when Jesus says, follow me. He's not saying just walk and be behind me. He's inviting you to walk with him. Friends, Jesus is inviting you to live with him. Church, Jesus is inviting you to be with him all the time. That's why the other versions of this same passage would say that we are to take up a cross daily. Like, look, daily. This is a daily walk. This is a daily commitment. The Greek word that is there on the screen for you, friends, is a word that means to accompany. To accompany. When Jesus says, follow me, he's saying, let's go for a walk. Walk with me. Friends, when you're walking with Jesus, when you're walking next to Jesus, the enemy doesn't have any power over you. Satan doesn't have any authority over you. And no one, and nobody can go against you if you are with the Lord. That is his promise, friends. That is exactly his promise. He's promising that the moment you deny yourself, empty yourself, and get ready to be filled by him, the moment you take up your cross, meaning you start walking with him, right? You start going with him. You put yourself in his territory. Satan doesn't have access to you anymore because you are accompanied by the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. And the moment you are accompanied by Jesus, you are protected by Jesus. And no one can touch you. But wait. You may say, but touch you? You don't know how my life is. You don't know how my home is. How dysfunctional my marriage is. You don't know how difficult my kids can be. You don't know how hard time my co-workers give me every day. You don't know what you're talking about, friends. Jesus is the one promising this. But now, the reason why we think about all these things that are happening in our lives is because of our perspective. We are seeing we are neglecting the big picture, and instead we are focusing ourselves in the 80 years we live in this world. I want you to use your imagination. This right here is a symbol of your lifespan. Let's say 80 years, 90 years. Let's say 100 years. 100 years is a lot of time, right? Is it? Yes or no? Lots of time, 100 years. What is, though, 100 years compared to millions and millions and millions and millions of years in eternity? This is what Jesus is talking about, friends. He is making us stop thinking about this short period of time and start looking at the big picture. And so, yes, this might be difficult, this might be challenging, but He wants you to know that this will come to an end. He wants you to know that the moment you focus your life on this, you are going to be missing the rest of eternity that is awaiting for you. Jesus is inviting us to switch gears and stop looking at this and start looking at the big picture. To follow Jesus is to follow Jesus to eternity. Because we're talking about an eternal being. We're not talking about a finite being. We're talking about an infinite being. To follow Jesus is to follow Jesus to eternity. So remember, friends, next time you go through a storm, next time your life gets hard, next time the day gets dark, remember that Jesus is asking you to keep on walking, because the only being in the universe, the only thing in the universe that is eternal is God Himself. There is nothing else that is eternal. Your pain might feel eternal. Your suffering might feel eternal. But the reality is that it's not eternal. If you keep on walking, you will come to the end of that suffering. You will come to the end of that pain. You will come to the end of that discomfort. Think about eternity and stop thinking about this short period of time that we spend in this world. We think so much about this short period of time that we think about where to invest our money. We think so much about this short period of time that we think about getting the best house, getting the best car, getting the best job. We think about so much about this short period of time because we are always planning, like these celebrities on Instagram. They are always trying to see how they can get more money. But how many of you know, friends, that once you die, your money dies there? You cannot take your money to the grave. You cannot take your money with you. You cannot take your houses, your cars. You cannot take anything with you. Jesus is saying, stop thinking about this short period of time and start planning and investing on all this that goes for eternity. And so that's why He says in verse 25, for whoever desires, and here we find the second desire, whoever desires to save his life will lose it. But whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. Once you decide to come after Jesus, you will find opposition. That's a reality. And that's why Jesus said you need to deny yourself. You need to take up your cross, and you need to follow me, accompany me, walk with me. Because the moment you walk with Him, even though the day may get dark, you're next to light. But friends, it might get difficult. It might get painful. But Jesus is saying, if at that moment you feel like giving up, you feel like quitting, you feel like stopping following Jesus, you need to reconsider, because you might be able to save your life for this short time, but He wants you to keep it for all this time. Yes, Jesus can give you all that you need at this moment and today. He can restore your home. He can bring back your children. He can bring back your spouse. He can restore your health. He can do it today. He has promised to do it. But friends, what He really is after your whole life, your eternal life. By the way, that word life is the Greek word zuke. Zuke. The word zuke in the New Testament can be translated into soul, person, emotions, heart, life. All these translations. And because of that, it can be a little confusing. But when you go to the base of that word, which is the word zuko simply means to breathe. To breathe. So zuke, when zuke is used, is actually talking about your life. It's not talking about an independent, rational entity that dwells in you. As a matter of fact, nowhere the word zuke is used in the New Testament. Not ever, nowhere in the New Testament you will find the word zuke referring to an independent entity that is within you. Nowhere in the Bible. So much so that in the next verse, in verse 26, when Jesus continues saying, "For what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own," what is the word that comes after that? Soul. Guess what? That word soul is the same word that life in the verse before comes from. What is that word, friends? Zuke. Is the word zuke. In verse 24, it's translated into life. In verse 25, it's translated into life. In verse 26, it's translated into soul. What is Jesus talking about? He's not talking about something you have inside of you. He's talking about your whole life. He cares for your whole life. He cares for the condition of your heart, your emotions. He cares about where you're going, and who you're following. For what profit is it to a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his life, his soul? Today you find hundreds of thousands of people looking after your click on the social media. And they sell their souls literally so that you will click that button. Why? Because the world is looking after the satisfactions of this age. Because they are concentrated, they are focused on that short time, and they are forgetting that there is a greater time coming after this. But know those who decide to come after Jesus. Far be this from those who have decided to follow Jesus. Because those who have decided to follow Jesus, they have their treasure sown somewhere else. Where's your heart? Where are your investments? Where are your priorities, church? Where are you setting your mind? What are you doing with the resources that God has entrusted you? Where is your heart? And so, talking again about the take up the cross and the suffering and the trials and all that, Jesus brings again, and talking to the disciples of Jesus, not only those who are learners, but those who have taken up their cross, those who have denied themselves, those who are not behaving like themselves anymore. I'm talking to those who are accompanying me, those who are walking with me, those, if you've seen this life being too difficult, too unfair to you and with you, please remember that one day, soon and very soon, verse 27, the Son of Man will come in the glory of the Father. The Son of Man will come in the glory of His angels. And Luke says the Son of Man will come on His own glory And then He will reward each according to his works. Some of us might think that to follow Jesus is way too difficult. Some of us might think that to follow Jesus is just too painful. Some of us will think that to be in the world and to behave like everyone in the world is easier and better and more satisfactory than coming after Jesus. But I want to remind you, friends, I want to remind you that the invitation is still up for you. I want to remind you that this invitation is for today and for right now. He's inviting you to follow Him. He's inviting you to be His follower because He is ready to reward you for it. I don't know how many of you like blessings and benefits. I do. And remember that God created us. He knows how we work. And here is the greatest blessing and greatest benefit that any disciple, a follower, can receive. And that is that one day when He comes, not now, not when you die, but when He comes back, there is a reward that He will bring along for you. Now listen, that reward is based on one single activity. And many people run away from this word right here. Because when we talk about works, we are labeled as legalists. But let me tell you, friends, the word works actually comes from the Greek word praxis. The Greek word praxis is where we have the English word practice. What did Jesus say? Is He talking about your good works? Even your good works are bad, are filthy. He's not talking about how much we can do. He's talking about practice. Because a disciple of Jesus, because a true follower of Jesus will practice and put into practice everything he has received from his master. He's talking to his disciples, those who have decided to deny themselves, those who have decided to take up the cross, those who have decided to follow Him, to put in practice what He has given to them. And because you have decided to follow Jesus, and because your actions reflect you are a follower of Jesus, because now you are a follower of Jesus, meaning, can we see the next slide? Meaning the one before. Because we are now, our lives are a pattern of the life of Jesus. We are not anymore thinking as ourselves. We now think as Jesus thinks. We now act as Jesus acts. We now speak as Jesus speaks. We now forgive as Jesus forgives. We now love as Jesus loves. Because a follower of Jesus Christ, a true disciple of Jesus Christ, is one who patterns his life, her life, after the life of Jesus. We are not called to click on a button. We are called to live for the Lord of Lords. A follower of Jesus Christ is one who resembles the life of Jesus in his life daily. Are we going to make mistakes? Yes. You be sure about it. But friends, the Lord is not looking for perfection in you. The world, as a matter of fact, is not looking for perfection in you. The Lord, your friends, the whole world is looking for you being authentic. He doesn't want you, the world doesn't want you to be perfect. They want you to be authentic. If you say you are a follower of Jesus, You cannot be saying one thing with your mouth and doing a different thing with your hands. Because your actions are to match the intents and desires of your heart. Because everything we do as followers of Jesus, because everything we say as followers of Jesus, because every act and every react of a follower of Jesus resembles the life of Jesus Christ, resemble the life of the one that we are following. There is one activity that we're doing more than anything else. And today we are clicking buttons more than any time before. Every time you go to Facebook, Instagram, every time you go to YouTube or TikTok, the invitation is always there to click that button. I want to invite you, friends. I want to invite you, young people. You are the ones that go there more than anyone else. I want to invite you to think about when you are tempted to click on that button, to think about the one that is inviting you to follow him. And so next time you think about following Jesus, following anyone, remember that Jesus is inviting you to follow him. And when you follow him, let him work in you. Because the only way for us to make it, the only way for us to be able to work and wrestle against his enemy is when he does it in us and through us. That's the only way. Don't try to face and fight Satan on your own power, because you are going to be defeated for sure. But when you fight in the name of Jesus, you can kill giants. You can part seas. You can cast demons. You can glorify the Lord. So I want to invite you, dear friend, today. I know following Jesus doesn't look like the most attractive thing to do today. I know the phrase "that's sick" cannot be used there, but the word "awesome" can be used there. The word satisfactory can be used there. The word rewarding can be used there. Because the moment you follow Jesus, peace fills your life. And you can walk straight up. Because as you keep on walking through the challenges of life, on the other side of that problem, there is a coming of the King. A King who is ready to crown you. A King who is ready to give you the riches of the universe. A King that is calling you today to be his follower, live with him, walk with him, act like him. And the Lord will make it possible. What are you going to say to that invitation? To click a celestial button to follow our Lord and Savior. How many of you would like to say, yes, I want to be that kind of follower? I want to be that kind of disciple. No matter what, I'm going to be accompanied by Jesus. Let's pray together. Father, we just want to praise your name today, because it's not just about clicking that button and going away, living our own lives. But when we think about that celestial button, Father, we are thinking about a commitment that is a 24-hour commitment. We're thinking about surrendering that is a complete changing our ways. We're thinking about trust that can only happen when we see you at work. And so, Father, today, we praise you for what you taught us. Because somebody here might have been in need of receiving that message. A message that will take us all the way to that moment when we see you coming, piercing the clouds. We are so looking forward to that moment, Father, because along with the angels, the greatest of all the rewards comes, and that is you. That is you, Jesus. We have been following all this time, but when we see you coming in the middle of your angels with the glory of your Father, that will be the greatest reward that we will ever receive. And so today, Father, I pray for that person that is struggling. I pray for that couple that is making decisions. I pray for that parent that is stressed out all day long because of his faith. I pray, Lord, that the person that is on the other side of this camera will receive the Holy Spirit at this moment and will receive peace and comfort, knowing that no matter how hard the problems might be, they are not eternal. You are the only eternal. And so we pray, Lord, that as we continue walking, our walk might not be alone, but it might be always and every time next to you. Thank you, Jesus, for loving us so much. Thank you for sharing your cross with us. What a privilege. Thank you for blessing us so much and loving us so much. We do want to pray for our young people today. We pray for them, Father, because it's just not a friendly world. And so we pray, Lord, that your Holy Spirit will come to their hearts and teach them and guide them and take them by their hand so that they may walk with you all day long. Thank you for blessing them, and thank you for blessing us. In the wonderful name of Jesus we pray. Amen.